In this video we're going to go through all of the Solar Investigation charms from the Exalted 3rd edition core book. We're going to review them one by one and revise those we think are necessary to revise. If you're new to this video series, there is a video for each ability leading up to this point, and something I keep repeating in every video is that I think that charm philosophy has changed through the course of 3rd edition, and when you look at charms being developed today and compare those to charms from the core book, while many of the solar charms are cool, there are some issues with several of them that I think are worth pointing out and having a discussion about. This video is not meant to be overly critical or bash the charms unnecessarily. Instead, my focus here is to try to uplift the charms, to make them compete with the developing edition. Before we get into these charms themselves, I also want to point out that there will not be an RPG news video this month. Instead, I'm going to be combining the news for July with August next month, and the reason for that is because I've been overwhelmed with real life stuff. I've been quite busy in recent weeks, and that's the reason why there haven't been too much content coming up on the channel lately, but I'm still here and I'm still eager to produce, but things were a bit busier than usual, and because of that I'm going to postpone the RPG news video in favor of some other content that I'll try to crank out instead. So anyway, also don't forget to download the Machine-Born playtest. I've been working diligently as well on trying to take the feedback I've received so far into account and make some changes to the game, and there are a lot of changes needing to be done because the game is fairly broken, but if you're interested in it, I do appreciate more people taking a look at the playtest document, and you don't have to read all of it because there's a lot, but give some feedback here and there, and any feedback is appreciated. More Machine-Born content will come out. I've already posted a few revisions on some of the material on my Patreon, so if you're interested in that, you make sure to check that out. But most of you are here for the Exalted charm, so let's get into that. But first, okay, Watchman's Infallible Eye. Watchman's Infallible Eye. When the 3rd edition core book came out, I thought that this charm was really cool and I loved it. I got it for all of my characters. It's a good charm in the way that it acts like a passive buff to a perceptive player, a perceptive character. The problem with this charm is that it's annoying when you're a storyteller, because you need to constantly remind yourself that, oh right, the character has that charm. So I'm not really sure if I'm as much of a fan of this charm as I used to be, but I do think it has a place, and I do think it's a valuable effect. So I'm going to keep it. I'm just not as hyped about it as I once were. English is hard. So, A-OK. I do think this charm is a bit similar to the eidetic memory effects that can be seen in not only in Exalted but in other games as well, such as D&D. Oh wait, I've forgotten to update the... Hold on. There we go. I forgot to update the Patreon list. Anyway, where were I? I was talking about something. Dark side. Anyway, let's keep going instead. Inquisitor's Unfailing Notice. This is similar to Watchman's Infallible Eye, that it's a good useful effect. It has the same problem that I mentioned before, that the storyteller gets a headache. I do think, because I'm primarily a storyteller for Exalted, I do want to play, so if any of you want to storytell for me, just tell me and I'll be all over that. But the way I think these two charms should be employed to alleviate some of the storyteller headache, because as they are written, they basically suggest that the storyteller should keep up with the charm and when to employ it rather than the player itself, and I don't think that's really fair. I think that if the player has chosen the charm, it's ultimately the player's responsibility that the charm is used, even when it has an effect like this. So, while this as well could be somewhat annoying, if the player constantly keeps asking the storyteller if the charm is applicable, it's at least less annoying, I think, than the fact that the storyteller should remind themselves to always check off this charm. So, if you're going to use these two charms, and I recommend that you do because they are good, if you're a player, do remember that you have them, and often ask your storyteller if they are applicable in the situation. For example, you're sneaking around on the market and you ask the storyteller if you can employ the charm to sense if anyone is using larceny ability around you. The storyteller can give you an answer. Watchman's Infallible Eye could be a little bit trickier, because you would want to ask that question every time you enter a new scene, and that in itself becomes a bit annoying. Another solution for that could be to print out on paper that you have this charm, or draw a pair of eyes on a paper and put it in the middle of the gaming table so that everyone can see it. Then everyone who sees this paper will be constantly reminded that this is a charm effect that's constantly active. So in that case, you don't have to remind anyone that you have the charm, because everyone can see it just by looking at the marker that you have placed. And that's a good reminder for the storyteller, because you don't have to remind them that you have this charm every time you enter a new scene, because that can get old fast. And the storyteller will be able to constantly keep that in mind, because they will see the marker all the time throughout the session. So I think that's probably the best way to deal with these kinds of effects without annoying anyone. Anyway, two good charms. Let's keep going. Crafty Observation Method. Cost 5 modes, simple mute. I think this is a excellent charm, and I do think that this charm could theoretically be the first one in a tree. It's very thematic. The fluff really visualizes the effect in a way. It makes you feel like Sherlock Holmes just from the fluff text, and that's nice, even though the fluff text in itself is a bit maybe too long. The actual mechanical effect, essence, automatic successes and double nines, is extremely powerful. So that could probably be maybe too powerful for an entry charm. If you want to remove the prerequisite, then maybe it's too powerful, but I'm not sure. It's a bit borderline. I will probably leave it as is, actually. I would consider making it an entry charm, but the reason why I'm leaving it as it is because it not only gives the successes but also the double nines. It's extremely powerful in that way. So just thinking if there's let's go with that. I'm happy with that. There's a good chance that maybe every charm and investigation is A-okay. We'll have to see. Divine Induction technique. The lawgiver draws wisdom from the very whispers of heaven. Once per scene, the Exalted may use a free, full investigation excellency. This is not a good charm. And if you have seen my previous charm review videos, then you'll know exactly why it's not a good charm. When it comes to charms that gives you a free excellency once per scene, it's vital that those charms are used in situations where essence expenditure is important. And that's usually in combat. It can be in social combat. It's very rarely important in primarily cognitive scenes, I would say, because these kinds of scenes, at least in my experience, usually only involve perhaps one or few roles. The entire scene could be the case scene action, in a sense, and there could be social roleplay, but this could ultimately culminate in a single dice roll, and then it doesn't really matter how much essence you have. So it's not really important that the investigation excellence is free in that case. So I don't like these charms because I rarely see a reason for wanting to save the motes enough to want to buy a charm when it comes to these kinds of situations, such as case scenes. Combat charms are different because every mote counts in a fight. So that's my reasoning. If you disagree, I'd like to hear your argument below, but I felt the same I feel the same about lore, for example, and integrity, and pretty much every ability that's not used primarily in combat. Occult could perhaps be a little bit different because you can still apply the occult excellency for sorcery, and in that way a free occult excellency could be very valuable in a combat situation, but that's the exception to the rule, I would say. So I would remove this charm, and a follow-up charm to this, such as Miraculous Stunning Insight, if kept, the prerequisite should be changed to Crafty Observation Method. Anyway, let's continue. Evidence-Discerning Method. This is a good charm as well, and the reason for that is because it's not really a cool idea, but it provides a new tool in the character's arsenal. I think this is solid enough to... Yeah, it doesn't give any bonuses to the roll, really. All it does is that it lets you profile someone who's not present, and I left the evidence. If I would make one change, I don't think I'm going to do that change, but we could maybe expand the charm to also work on any type of description of the character and not just evidence left behind, but I think that could be overstepping a bit as well. So it's a good and useful charm that I can actually see characters use, and not only investigative characters, but trackers and characters like that could also benefit from a charm like this. So it's a good one, and I'm going to A-OK it. And then we'll continue to Judge Ear technique. Another good charm. I usually don't like the kind of charm trick where, you know, compare with the opponent's roll and look at those dice and then add the successes depending on those dice and things like that, because it adds complexity. I think that this charm is good enough as it is, with only essence automatic successes on the solar's roll. Without the bonus successes themselves, the charm is still good, just because it automatically lets you sense lies as well. So, and half-truths as well. So, yeah, I'm going to make one change. It's a bit of a nerf, but I think it's still a good charm. There we go. I mean, you can call it a nerf, but I think it's an upgrade to the charm overall, because it reduces complexity. Then we have Miraculous, Stunning Insight. A permanent charm. The solar's deductions are as sharp as a razor and as short as they'll once be seen. The Exalted may enhance a single. Same problem as Divine Induction technique, I think. These once per scene benefits are... I think they are superfluous, but you may disagree, but I do, so I'm going to remove this one. I don't think they really... I mean, they're good in the way that they enhance your rolls, they reduces the costs and things like that, which can be very valuable in different situations, but they are not providing enough to be worth charm purchases in my eyes. So that's why I remove them. Then we have Watchful, Justiciar's Eye. That's kind of cool, actually. You build a profile, and this should last as long as you have the profile. So you build a profile, you pay the cost when you think that they are acting differently from the profile. The storyteller tells the player whether or not they are acting strangely and how they should be acting instead. Okay, so if they are actually behaving normally, the solar gets a willpower point. The willpower point, I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess it can represent some kind of catharsis from recognizing a change, or that they learn something new. But yeah, maybe. I think the charm effect is good enough to be worth a charm purchase. The cost is probably a bit steep. I mean, you pay a willpower and you basically replenish that willpower, so I guess that's okay. 4 modes though. I think it would be more interesting? Or could there be problems with that? I'm thinking about whether or not to remove the willpower cost, because if you remove the willpower cost and you use the charm and you replenish a willpower, you will benefit much more greatly from that. Problem is... No, I think that's good actually. I think... Let's change it to 3 modes only. And that's a big buff. The rest is fine, I think. Yes, let's go with this. 3 modes. It's a gut feeling. If you disagree, please comment. But I have a gut feeling about the cost, and it feels better this way. But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% on this one, so decide for yourself. Irresistible questioning technique. The once per session restriction is probably a good one in this case, because you could easily willpower tap someone. 1 persuade action. Each extra success constitutes additional questions. Yeah, I think this is powerful. This is good and powerful, and it feels solar level. It's definitely A-okay on this one. Dauntless Inquisitor attitude. Could be good. It does imply that you would want to make more investigation rolls in the scene. So there's that. I'm a system low storyteller, if that's the term. It is now. I don't really roll much in my sessions. I focus primarily on the role playing and then roll in combat and when necessary. I don't think I've ever had a situation where a single scene has required too many investigation rolls in particular. I mean, maybe more than one, sure, but I don't think enough to want to merit a charm like this. So it's good, but it feels like it seems way more good than it's actually useful, so I'm going to remove it. Evidence restoring Prana. This is kind of cool. It feels almost like a hologram sort. But I kind of like it. It's 6 modes. Yeah, you could basically take a burnt paper from a fire and use this charm and read the content on it. That's cool. That's really cool. I like it. Let's keep it. A-okay. Way to go, investigation. Now this is probably my favorite charm tree so far. 10 Magistrate Eyes. So you can basically use your awareness charms for investigation with this charm. That's cool. I like it. It's a bit fluffy and a bit... it uses a lot of words to describe not too many things, but I think it's a good charm. The cost is great. It's only 3 modes, and let's keep it. Let's keep it. Unknown Wisdom Epiphany. 10 modes, 1 willpower. Man, things got expensive. this is another thematic and cool charm that you can truly visualize how it works and how the soul acts when employing it. It's a bit like Will Graham from Hannibal, when he puts himself in the mind of the killer and goes into really dark places. And this is definitely doable as an investigation solar. So, well done. Let's keep it. Enlightened touch insight. I mean, the emotion is neat, but I wonder if it wouldn't be cool if it gave something more as well. Like not only an emotion, but some kind of insight into an intention, maybe. But that could probably be too powerful. I mean, an emotion, you could probably sense the anger in the dagger used to kill someone. Or the hate, or the sorrow, or the betrayal. All those are emotions that could lead to very useful evidence. Yeah, maybe that's enough. If it would give an intention, then maybe you would get too much. Actually. So, yes. A-okay. Judge General stance. 10 modes. Once per day, the Exalted use the charm to reset an investigation charms which are currently down. Doing this also grants her 1 point of willpower. Do we have... Nah, fuck that. Don't like it. Same reason as before, don't like charms like this. I did promise last month, or 2 months ago, I don't remember. But I did promise that I was going to make a video about therapeutic role-playing. And I'm basically done with the script, and it's going to be a long one, but I had to postpone it, and the reason for that is because the video is based on my dissertation about therapeutic role-playing, and I want to be able to link to the dissertation when I post the video, and because everyone at my university decided to take a vacation over the summer before they uploaded, or I mean, I had submitted the paper, but they hadn't been approved yet by the faculty to be posted, to be published on the database that I need in order to link it to you all. So even though the video is basically, I only need to record it, it's written and all, I haven't done so yet because I really want that link, because I don't want to talk a bunch about a study and interviews and such before it's actually published. That would be weird, and I'm not really sure it would be ethical to do so. So I really want to share that video with you, but so far I can't, and it seems like I will probably have to wait until at least mid-August before it's been published. Which sucks, because it's a good one. I put a lot of work into that dissertation, and I really, really, really want to share the results. And I've heard a lot of people mention that they are interested in the results as well. I'm not sure if you're interested in therapeutic roleplay, but it is a very interesting subject to me. And let's hope we don't have to wait too long. Let's hope I can upload that video in August at least. Oh man, we're almost done. Empathic Recall Discipline. And I think this gives us a good reason not to add intent to that other charm. I think this is a solid upgrade to that, because we're talking about intent, possibly adding intent to that charm earlier, and here it is. It's powerful enough to be a charm purchase, I think. I think I agree with that. Are you okay? And then the final charm, Manse Meditation. Man, this video was short compared to the previous ones. 12 modes, 1 willpower, Empathic Recall Discipline, Evidence Restoring Prana. I mean, it's a cool charm. The only problem with this is this sentence right here. The effects of these charms are largely dramatic. It's good that charms are dramatic. It's good that effects are dramatic, but the effects shouldn't be largely dramatic. Charms should be largely mechanical. They should provide an actual, tangible benefit. This does that to some degree. It lets you research for hours in seconds, basically. So I do think that this could be expanded. I do think it's a bit unfortunate that it's at Investigation 5, Essence 5, because Manse Meditation in itself could be the source of an entire tree with additional upgrades, I think. It would be cool if the Manse could be tied to integrity, for example, to let you conceal thoughts in your own Manse to protect yourself from unwanted influence. It could be tied to effects that prevents others from reading your mind because you store away different informations. There are plenty of things you can do with the Manse, and I think it's unfortunate that it's just this. I think we should do this. Let's reduce it to Essence 4. $12 modes is probably too expensive as well. I think let's reduce it to 10 modes, 1 willpower. I would probably also change it to indefinite, because you can technically stay in the Manse for as long as you want. So instead of making it instant, you hold the modes for as long as you remain in the Manse, I think. I think the charm itself is kind of okay, but I would like to see upgrades to it. I'm not going to write all of the upgrades right now, but some ideas. Upgrade that lets you bring friends into your Manse. Upgrade that lets you store your own information in your Manse to prevent others from getting to it. Upgrade that lets you bring enemies into your Manse and trap them there. Things like that. I mean, these are high essence effects. I don't think they are... There's many different concepts that can apply to solars, so I don't think any of these are anti-thematical in any way. I think they're cool. I think I'm satisfied with this. It was a shorter video, but that's good, because as you can see, most of these charms are actually good. The investigation tree is a bit of a shorter tree, but it's fairly solid. I'm happy with this, but if you disagree with anything, I do want to have a conversation. I do like any ideas to be presented in the comments below, so that as many people as possible can see those ideas as well. And I do welcome contesting ideas, and as long as they're constructive. I mean, I don't want people to say, you suck, don't ever do this again. But next up is Larceny. Another interesting charm tree with a lot of potential and a lot of cool ideas, so that will be fun. I think this is it for now. Next up, I'm not really sure what the next video will be about. It could be another one of these, I'm not too sure. I have a few things I want to get out. I did a player tips video last week, which I recommend that you watch, and I do have a storyteller or GM video in mind as well that I will publish soon. Other than that, like I said at the beginning of the video, the RPG news video for July will be postponed to August, and the therapeutic RPG video will hopefully be posted during August. I maybe take a look at a different deep dive into a different game, and I'm not really sure what that will be yet. I have been talking to Matthew Dawkins about possibly reviewing They Came From Beneath the Sea, but I will have to wait until the PDF is actually released. I've been talking to Free League about possibly reviewing the Alien RPG, but I haven't gotten any confirmation from them yet. I do hope that I could get a review copy, because I am interested in the game, but it's the bane of being such a small channel that you kind of have to buy the games you review most of the time. But that's life for everyone, so I shouldn't complain. Onyx Path has been gracefully granting me some PDFs to review, and I do appreciate that, because that allows me to explore games that I probably otherwise wouldn't buy. So I do hope that as this channel grows very slowly, but a little bit steadily at least, at least it grows, and hopefully I can get, hopefully that will help me get to more content, and hopefully I can get to more Exalted content as well. And I do appreciate feedback on what kind of Exalted content you would like to see apart from these charm reviews, because I do feel a little bit guilty that these charm reviews are the only Exalted content I basically published this year. And I still want this channel to... I still want Exalted to be a huge part of this channel. I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to move away from that. I want to keep making Exalted stuff and bring other stuff into the channel as well, other games and things like that. So that's how I see things. And if you like this video and want to see more, make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. And if you're interested in my other projects such as Machineborn, make sure to check out my Patreon. There's currently a playtest version of Machineborn out that's very crunchy, a bit wordy and kind of broken, and that's why I need your help to take a look at that game and provide some feedback on how to improve it. And if you want to follow the changes as I make them, you can become a $1 patron, and $1 is not much, but it means a lot to me, because it proves to me that you're interested in what I do, and that means a lot. So that will give you access to all of the previews. Yeah, I guess that's it. So until next time.